Welcome to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation, the Future Radio. Hey, I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Sunday, July 7th, 2019, and we are live tonight. We have a lot to talk about. Hope everybody's doing well tonight. We know that a lot of people celebrated the 4th of July, July 4th or the 4th of July. Other people were at the Waco African Unity Festival out at Eliza Howell Park. So thanks for everybody who came out there. Met a lot of my listeners there, Vi Mines and Ed Williams, and a lot of other listeners also who came out to the 19th Annual African Unity Festival in Detroit. All right, so we have a lot to talk about on tonight's show. We have a jam-packed show for you as well. Okay, so we'll talk about Colin Kapernick gets Nike to pull the Betsy Ross flag shoes for the 4th of July. So these were a new pair of Nike shoes, new design, and these shoes were going for $140, and they had the original design of the stars and stripes of the U.S. flag from 1777 with the 13 stars. Okay, and there was a lot of people did not like this design. They said it was going back to a time during slavery. Now, what's interesting, I saw a lot of coverage dealing with this topic and dealing with this flag on the shoes. Now, what's interesting is I saw MSNBC, I saw CNN, I read a number of articles with it. What's interesting is no one wants to really say the reason why the U.S. flag on this shoe is wrong. No one really wants to say the reason why the U.S. flag on this shoe is wrong. Okay, so we're going to talk about that tonight. Then also, Vice President Joe Biden apologizes for segregationist comments. We talked about that on this show last week and the week before last as well. And unfortunately, the coverage, the way the media has covered the comments is really disingenuous, because they did not want to put it in the proper context and didn't want to give you the background story. Okay, so on last week's show, I dealt with this, and I talked about how, Vice President Joe Biden was talking about working with two segregationist senators, but these were two Democrats. And 95% of the coverage that I've seen, especially on MSNBC, they didn't want to tell you that these were two Democrats he was talking about working with, even though he disagreed with them. Senator James Eastland, okay, of Mississippi, and Senator Herman Talmadge, okay, of Georgia. Nobody wants to say these were two segregationist Dixiecrats. These were Democrats. Okay, so watch the show that I did last week. It's on our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, Imhotep. Watch the show from last week, and we have last week's show there, and then I uploaded a version of the show in high definition today, and then also I uploaded a segment of last week's show where I talk about Kamala Harris is black, but it seems like only when it's convenient. Kamala Harris is black, but it seems like only when it's convenient. Okay, so check that out also at our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, Imhotep. Okay, so we'll talk about Joe Biden apologizing for segregationist comments. And once again, the coverage on this was really terrible. Okay, and I saw David Gura this morning on MSNBC. I saw Joanne Reed. I saw who else? I saw a number of different people. I saw a number of different shows today on MSNBC. And nobody wanted to say these were segregationists. These segregationists that Joe Biden was talking about working with were Democrats. I just find that interesting. Okay. All right. So we'll talk about that. And then also Senator Kamala Harris, who attacked Joe Biden when it came to his comments on segregationists and his stance on busing 40 years ago, Senator Kamala Harris has backtracked a little bit this week on her stance on federally mandated busing. Imagine that. And it caused the Biden camp to say, well, wait a second, why were you attacking Biden on stage? Now, if you look at an article from thehill.com, thehill.com, Hill, thehill.com, they have an article from February of this year, and I'll see if I can pull it up. We'll put it on the thread of the broadcast. I was reading this article a couple of days ago, and this article came out when Joe Biden announced that he was running for president, okay? And actually, I have it right here, because I got about literally 50 tabs open in Firefox. Kamala Harris on Biden, the more the merrier. Kamala Harris on Biden, the more the merrier. Actually, this came out April 25th, 2019. That's when it came out. There's something else I read came out in February. And in this article from thehill.com, it says presidential hopeful Senator Kamala Harris welcomed former Vice President Joe Biden into the Democratic Party Thursday, calling him a friend and saying he brings a wealth of knowledge to the race. So I'm just, I'm just flabbergasted. If this is somebody you call a friend, why did you attack him like that on stage? If he says something that hurt your feelings, why don't you pick up the phone and call him? And then I read another article from 2016 from BusinessInsider.com. Cleo Monago, who you see on Roland Martin's show once a week. Cleo Monago posted this article, and it talked about how in the article it referred to it said Senator Kamala Harris becomes first Indian American U.S. senator, right? When you read the article, it talks about how she was supported in her U.S. Senate campaign by President Barack Obama and Vice President Joe Biden. This is when Joe Biden was a sitting vice president. So I'm just still, as I go through and put these pieces together and go read all these articles, I still can't understand what happened Thursday, June 27th on that debate stage. I still get, the more research I do on this, and then looking at her backtracking on her statements on busing, and we're going to get into that tonight, I still can't figure this out. So we'll talk some about that as well. Senator Kamala Harris backtracks on busing comments. And at the bottom of the hour, we're going to be joined by Queen Taese of the Liberated Minds Black Homeschooling Education Expo. They are having their, let's see, it's Friday, July 19th through Sunday, July 21st. Liberated Minds Black Homeschooling Education Expo. They're having their 7th annual expo. I will be there all weekend. I'll be speaking on Sunday. I'll be a vendor also, so we'll talk to Queen Taese. And then the Black Agenda Tour goes to Chicago Saturday, July 13th with David Banner, Mechee X, Jice Johnson, and special guest Michael Imhotep. So I'll be in Chicago this coming Saturday, July 13th. So we'll have Mechee X and Jice Johnson on the show tonight to talk about the Black Agenda Tour, what it's about, and why you should be there. Okay, let's see, and then Jimmie J.J. Walker of Good Times. Everybody watches Good Times. It runs continuously in reruns. Jimmie J.J. Walker of Good Times spoke with TMZ Sports, and while he publicly supports Donald Trump, he said he wants NBA players and other athletes to keep their mouths closed and stop being political or show more gratitude. Okay, so he doesn't want, he's falling in line with people like Laura Ingraham of Fox News, who told LeBron James to shut up and dribble. We'll talk about that because, see, a lot of people resent when African-American athletes get a platform and they feel that because they have money, they should not complain about the issues plaguing the general African-American community. They should be immune to that, okay? But it's okay for white entertainers and white actresses and actors to take up political causes. We know Clint Eastwood was at one of the Republican National Conventions chastising Barack Obama. Remember when Clint Eastwood was on stage and he had this empty chair and he was chastising an imaginary Barack Obama? See, it's all right for white entertainers to have political views. It's all right for them to take stances. Okay, but when African American athletes and entertainers do the same thing, then they are attacked because they want you to entertain them. They want you to entertain them, but they don't want to hear your political views. They want you to be mute. They don't want you to have a thought. They don't want you to have an opinion unless it's white supremacy by ventriloquism. Unless it's a thought or an opinion that they gave to you, then it's okay. Okay, so we'll talk about that also. Now on the African History Network show, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it corrects wrong behavior. What you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you have been taught about yourself. What you've been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. So when you control the radius of a man's thoughts, you can control the circumference of his actions, because the mind can't do or teach what it doesn't know. Now, we deal with a number of different topics here on the show. We deal with current events and history, politics, education, economic empowerment, entrepreneurship, love, sex, health issues, and much, much more. Sign up for our email newsletter. Text the word Kemet, K-E-M-E-T. Text the word Kemet, K-E-M-E-T, to 22828 to sign up for our email newsletter. Also visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, okay? If you like this type of information, you can donate to the African History Network, paypal.me/the AHN show, paypal.me/the AHN show, or at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. And also register for my new online course, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school, 2019 edition. We had a great class. I did a special session Friday, because normally it's Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I was getting ready for the 19th Annual African Unity Festival. So I did it on Friday. So we had a great session Friday, getting into the history of the Moors, these African Moors, descendants of the Garamantes, who took the teachings from ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt, and the Nile Valley into Europe to bring Europe out of the Dark Ages, and how all that came back to kick us in the behind. So we're going to continue some more with that discussion on this Wednesday show. So visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, and you can register there. It's an 8-week, 16-hour online course. It is $80. You can watch it over and over again. We do it live. You can watch it over and over again, okay? And you can watch from around the world as well. So visit AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, and we'll post the link here on the thread of the broadcast also. All right, let's jump into this topic dealing with Colin Kapernick. I saw, we posted a few articles dealing with this on our Facebook fan page, the African History Network, when the story broke on July 2nd. A lot of news outlets picked up the article from the Wall Street Journal on July 1st. All right. So Nike has pulled a new 4th of July shoe featuring Betsy Ross. Now Betsy Ross is attributed with designing this 13 colony U.S. flag that was adopted as the U.S. flag on June 14, 1777. 1777, June 14th. This is why June 14th is known as Flag Day, okay, National Flag Day. So Nike has pulled a 4th of July shoe featuring Betsy Ross, featuring a Betsy Ross flag for the 13 American colonies, reportedly after former San Francisco 49ers quarterback Colin Kapernick expressed concerns, sparking outrage among some conservatives and prompting the Arizona Republican Governor Doug Ducey to announce his state will pull millions of dollars in financial incentives to the company, to Nike. All right. And this is going to cost Arizona about 500 jobs. Okay, so you have to really have a hatred for Colin Kaepernick, and Colin Kaepernick speaking out against this flag on the shoe. You must really have a hatred to cost your citizens jobs. Now, the shoe design drew concern from Colin Kaepernick because the former NFL star said the early flag has connections to slavery. People familiar with the matter told the Wall Street Journal. So I read the article from the Wall Street Journal. The article from the Wall Street Journal is entitled "Nike Nixes Betsy Ross Flag Sneaker After Colin Kaepernick Intervenes." Nike nixes Betsy Ross flag sneaker after Colin Kaepernick intervenes. This article is from July 1st 2019. So a lot of the other articles that I read in the different news outlets cited the article from the Wall Street Journal. Now it's important to note, at this time, 1777, 1776, all of the 13 colonies own slaves. All of the 13 colonies have slavery, okay, at this time. This is before the U.S. Constitution is signed. This is before the Philadelphia Convention in the spring of 1787. Now, by the time the U.S. Constitution was signed, September 17, 1787, we know 5 states had already outlawed slavery by 1787. All right, so after images of the shoe were posted online, Colin Kapernick, a Nike endorser, we know he has a endorsement deal with Nike. Colin reached out to company officials saying that he and others felt the Betsy Ross flag is an offensive symbol because of its connections to an era of slavery, the people said. Now, some users on social media responded to posts about the shoe with similar concerns. Now, Colin Kaepernick, as of the time of the article, the time that the article from the Wall Street Journal came out, declined to comment. And I've read a number of articles, CNBC, Daily Mail. I haven't seen any where Colin Kaepernick commented. Now, in recent years, the Betsy Ross flag, let me know when we're ready for break. In recent years, the Betsy Ross flag has been appropriated by the white nationalist group Identity Evropa, Evropa, and the Ku Klux Klan, who use it to represent a time when slavery was legal in the United States. And those watching on Facebook and YouTube, you see I have my Colin Kaepernick shirt on. I'm not going to stand for a flag that oppresses black people. But the full quote is, I'm not going to stand for a flag that oppresses black people and people of color. That's the full quote. We'll be back in a few minutes, 9:10 a.m. the Superstation, the Future Radio, the African History Network show. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 9:10 a.m. the Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Sunday, July 7th, 2019. And we're live. Calling numbers 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600 is the calling number if you have a question or comment. I want to let you know, coming up Friday, July 12th, 12 noon to 9 p.m. at the Joseph Walker Williams Community Center in Detroit, they will have Soul Day. Now, many people in Detroit are familiar with our elder Baba Clarence Harris, affectionately known as Pee Wee, and he is the founder of the original Soul Day. This is taking place at 8431 Rosa Parks Boulevard in Detroit, Michigan. 8431 Rosa Parks Boulevard in Detroit, Michigan at the Joseph Walker Williams Community Center. It's a free event, Friday, July 12th, 12 noon to 9 p.m. It's a family-friendly, drug and alcohol-free event. Let's see, the 2019 Detroit Soul Day Festival embraces our black culture with performances by the Marvelettes, Larry Lee and the Back in the Day Band, local talent in the Soul Day talent show, music, dancing, food, networking, and a variety of entertainment throughout the day. To be a vendor, volunteer, or sponsor, call Sanjia at 248-521-4138, 248-521-4138, or Gerald at 313-930-6345. Visit their website, DetroitSoulDay.org, DetroitSoulDay, S-O-U-L, DetroitSoulDay.org for more information. Okay, let's go back to the story dealing with Colin Kaepernick and the Betsy Ross flag Nike shoe. Okay, the name of the shoe is the where is it here? Okay, well, we'll get the actual name of the shoe for you.
Air Max 1.
Yeah, it is the. Okay, I'll get that for you because I had it right here. I don't know where it went.
Air Max 1.
Yeah, the Air Max. Yeah, okay. I got it. Yeah, it's the Air Max 1 Quick Strike 4th of July. Okay. So, a spokesperson for Nike said in a statement to CNBC, quote, Nike has chosen not to release the Air Max 1 Quick Strike 4th of July as it featured an old version of the American flag. Now, the company added in a later statement that the decision to pull the shoe was, quote, based on concerns that it could unintentionally that it can unintentionally offend and detract from the nation's patriotic holiday. Okay, end quote. Now, according to the Wall Street Journal, the shoes had already been shipped to retailers, and Nike asked for them to be returned. A spokesperson for Colin Kapernick declined to comment to NBC News. Now, Now, I also heard that some people had already bought the shoes, and they were going online for as much as $2,500. Okay, I'm not sure who would want them, but anyway, I'm going to get to this. So what I find very interesting, right, in all of this conversation, I read numerous articles dealing with this. I saw them talk about it on MSNBC, because I watch MSNBC all day, do research all day. I read articles from NBC News. Nobody talked about the real reason why it's a big problem to have the U.S. flag on the Nike shoes. I'm going to get into that in just a minute. Okay, so now Nike's decision drew complaints from conservatives, most notably the Republican governor of Arizona, Doug Ducey, on Twitter early Tuesday morning. Doug Ducey, governor, announced, he's a Republican, of course, he had ordered the Arizona Commerce Authority, a public-private economic development agency, to withdraw incentives the state offered Nike to build a plant in Goodyear, Arizona. Now, keep in mind that it was Arizona that was the last state in the union to officially recognize Dr. King's Day as a federal holiday. That was Arizona. Remember that. And you remember the song by Public Enemy, By the Time I Get to Arizona? That's what that was about. It was about them protesting Arizona not recognizing Dr. King Day as a national holiday. Okay, so this is Arizona. All right. So Governor Ducey said, quote, "Today was supposed to be a good day in Arizona with the announcement of a major Nike investment in Goodyear, Arizona." He wrote this, I think, on Twitter. Okay, he went on to say, "Words cannot express my disappointment. Nike has made its decision, and now we're making ours." End quote. So the deal was only announced on Monday, and this past Monday, and according to city records, would have brought more than 500 full-time jobs to the Phoenix, Arizona suburb of Goodyear, Arizona. Okay, so you're going to sacrifice. Oh, let me continue. Okay, Goodyear, Arizona, Phoenix suburb. The population in Goodyear, Arizona is 82,000 people, and produced over $450 million in economic activity during its first 5 years of operation. All right, so you're going to sacrifice 500 jobs in Goodyear, Arizona, because of you don't like Nike pulling these shoes that were temporary shoes in the first place? The deal was only announced Monday, and according to city records of Goodyear, Arizona, this would have brought more than 500 full-time jobs to the Phoenix suburb of 82,000 people and produced over $450 million in economic activity during its first 5 years of operation. So this is what the Nike plant or whatever it was there in Goodyear would have generated in economic impact. So the Arizona Commerce Authority told NBC News it agrees with and supports Governor Ducey's decision. NBC News reached out to Nike and the city of Goodyear for comment, but did not immediately hear back. Okay, and let me see. I don't know what's going on with Facebook here. All right. Okay. Let's continue here. So Senator Ted Cruz, we all know Senator Ted Cruz, right? Little lack of backbone Ted Cruz, also weighed in on the controversy, scolding Nike on Twitter. Senator Ted Cruz on Twitter said, "It's a good thing Nike only wants to sell sneakers to people who hate the American flag," end quote. Okay. Now, Nike's partnership with Colin Kapernick last year drew similar outrage, okay, in 2018. Social media users posted pictures and videos of themselves burning their Nike shoes and various Nike apparel, upset that the shoe company partnered with the former NFL player who has used his platform to draw attention to issues of police brutality and racial injustice. So a lot of these people would like for the NFL players, the NBA players, things like this, they would like for them just to keep their mouths closed, just like Jimmie J.J. Walker wants them to do. Okay, we'll talk about that in the second hour. Right? I find it interesting how people don't want athletes talking about these issues, right? But at the same time, they don't want to address the issues the athletes are complaining about. The same people who want the athletes to shut up about police brutality, racial profiling, structural racism, things like that, the same people that want them to shut up when it comes to those issues don't want to address those issues and why those issues take place, why they exist. Okay? So really what they want you to do is just suffer in silence. That's what this is really about. They just want them to just suffer in silence, okay, and just entertain us, all right? As long as you entertain us and you're a good boy, everything's all right. Okay, so we know Muhammad Ali went through this. We know other athletes went through this. Okay, John Carlos, other athletes have gone through this as well, and it continues. Okay, so let's continue here. 313-778-7600 is the call-in number if you have a question or comment. All right, and something went out, something happened with our Facebook broadcast. So you can watch us on YouTube, Michael Imhotep, Imhotep. Is that my guess? Okay, I don't know. Okay. You can watch us on YouTube, Michael Imhotep, Imhotep. All right. Okay, so 313-778-7600 is the call-in number if you have a question or comment. And let's continue here. Okay, she's trying to call in now. All right, we'll have Queen Taese on here in just a minute. Okay, so Nike's partnership with Colin Kapernick last year drew similar conservative outrage. Social media users posted pictures and videos of themselves burning their Nikes, upset that the shoe company partnered with Colin Kaepernick, okay, who used his platform to draw attention to issues of police brutality and racial injustice. Now, Colin Kaepernick is 31 years old, according to the article from the Wall Street Journal, and last played in the NFL in 2016. The season that was the season he began kneeling on the field during the national anthem to call attention to social injustices and racial inequality. All right. Now, at first he was sitting on the bench. Okay. At first he was sitting on the bench, and then he took the kneeling. But keep in mind, the reason why he and Eric Reed, who was his teammate for the San Francisco 49ers, the reason why they took to kneeling is because a former NFL player who played for, I think it was the Green Bay Packers, or Seattle Seahawks, one of them, Nate Boyer. Nate Boyer is former military, and he had a 90-minute meeting with them, and he said, we have to figure out a way to put the focus back on why it is that you're protesting. So he suggested to them that they take a knee instead of sitting on the bench, because kneeling in the military is a sign of respect. That's where the kneeling came from. That's where taking a knee came from. Okay? It came from ex-military man. So, and also people have to keep in mind that they have a First Amendment right also to protest. They're protesting silently. They're taking a knee. And I find it, odd when you have a lot of people who, they were booing when during the national anthem when players were taking a knee in the NFL. They were complaining about it, things like this. But at the same time, how many of those people, when they are at a sports bar and a game comes on and the national anthem comes on, how many of those people stand for the national anthem at a sports bar? How many of those same people complaining stand for the national anthem when they are sitting at home in their living room and watching a football game? And the other thing people have to understand is the players don't get paid to stand for the national anthem either. So I just find the whole argument hypocritical. So Colin Kaepernick, former San Francisco 49ers quarterback, has gone unsigned since he became a free agent, along with former teammate Eric Reed. In February 2019, they settled their collusion grievances that alleged that the NFL and its teams conspired to keep them unsigned because of their outspoken political views. The settlement was for less than $10 million, the Wall Street Journal previously reported. Now, here's what people don't want to talk about, okay? The biggest problem, however, with the Nike Air Max 1 Quick Strike 4th of July shoe is not the type of U.S. flag that is on the shoe. The biggest problem is the fact that the flag is on the shoe in the first place. Why is this? Because having the U.S. flag, either the one from 1777 with the 13 colonies, or the current U.S. flag, or any of them, having the U.S. flag on a shoe or a piece of clothing is a direct violation of the 1923 U.S. flag code. Senator Ted Cruz didn't talk about this. Governor Ducey of Arizona didn't talk about this. I saw them talk about it on MSNBC. None of them talked about this. This is a direct violation of the 1923 U.S. flag code. Okay, you've heard me talk about this before. So this goes once again into how Americans disrespect the flag on a daily basis, but then want to attack NFL players for taking a knee during the national anthem, and taking a knee is a sign of respect from the military. The fact of the matter is that Americans disrespect the flag on a daily basis and think nothing of it. So if we look at this article from NBCnews.com called the flag clothing you're buying for July 4th is technically illegal. The flag clothing you're buying for July 4th is technically illegal. This is from NBCnews.com, July 2nd, 2019. And in the article, it talks about how under the U.S. flag code, any clothes with the flag on it are technically illegal. Every item of apparel that they're wearing that has an American flag on it, shirt, shorts, bikini, hat, technically is in violation of the 1923 U.S. flag code, said Mark Leepson, Leepson, author of the book Flag, An American Biography. The federal flag code says that, quote, the flag should never be used for advertising purposes in any manner whatsoever, end quote. Now, in the District of Columbia, Washington, D.C., according to the U.S. flag code, a flag being, quote, printed, painted, attached, or otherwise placed a representation on any article of merchandise, for the purposes of advertising is a misdemeanor and can lead to a fine of $100 or imprisonment of less than 30 days. This is U.S. flag code. Now, however, there is no flag police. But I find it interesting that the governor of Arizona didn't talk about how the Nike shoe is a direct violation of the U.S. flag code. I find it interesting that a sitting U.S. senator who talks about being so patriotic didn't say this is a violation of the U.S. flag code. None of these conservatives said that. I find it interesting and hypocritical. On MSNBC, then they say it. I don't understand this. And I saw coverage of it. They didn't talk about this article from NBC News. Nike pulls Betsy, the flag clothing you're buying for July 4th is technically illegal. I saw them discussing the shoe, but they didn't talk about this article. How did I know about this? I don't work for NBC News or MSNBC. I don't. This stuff is not coming together. I don't understand it. There's a total disconnect here. I'm just sitting back watching this. I'm like, this is unbelievable. Okay. 313-778-7600 is the call-in number. If you have a question or comment, 313-778-7600 is the call-in number. If you have a question or comment, okay? And now, there's another big article from HuffingtonPost.com. I've talked about this before. It's from September 24th, 2017, okay? This one is called, "Here Are Some Ways People Disrespect the Flag Daily Based on Flag Code." Here are some ways people disrespect the U.S. flag daily based upon flag code, okay? So check out that article also, because when you have, we'll go to Queen Taese here in just a minute. Okay, so have you ever used a disposable picnic plate with a U.S. flag on it? Okay. The flag code frowns on that. The U.S. flag is never supposed to be on anything that's disposable. Paper plates, paper cups, paper napkins. This is based upon the U.S. flag code from 1923. It's not supposed to be used as clothing. It's not supposed to be, you should not have U.S. flag bathing suits, U.S. flags, leggings. All this stuff is a violation of the U.S. flag code. When I fly on Southwest Airlines, I like Southwest, okay? When I fly on Southwest Airlines, the pilots wear American flag ties. That's a direct violation of the U.S. flag code. Okay, so Americans disrespect the flag on a daily basis. Okay, so check out this article also. This is from HuffingtonPost.com. I just find this interesting, right? Senators didn't talk about this, Here are some ways people disrespect the flag daily based on flag code. Okay, HuffingtonPost.com. Check out that article also. All right, let's go to, because I know we're coming up on a break here in a few minutes. Let's go to, we have Queen Taese on the line here to tell us about the 7th Annual Liberated Minds Black Homeschooling Education Expo, taking place Friday, July 19th through Sunday, July 21st in Atlanta. Welcome to the African History Network show, Queen Taese. How you doing tonight, sister?
I'm doing fabulous. How are you?
All right. I'm all right. Good.
Nice to be here. You're dropping some interesting knowledge here.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for coming.
That's some heavy research right there.
Oh, yes. Thanks for coming on tonight. Well, it's that time of the year, and it's time for the annual Liberated Minds Black Homeschooling Education Expo. And we know that more and more people are interested in this expo. More and more people are talking about homeschooling, especially African American children. I saw an article from the Detroit News from July 6th that talked about how schools are, even here in Michigan, schools are having a problem with understanding how to teach the history of slavery. Name of this article, "Schools Still Struggling with How to Teach About Slavery." Okay, so explain to people, what is the Liberated Minds Black Homeschooling Education Expo?
Well, it is just a powerful weekend. It's what I call a family gathering. It's now been coined the Family Reunion of African-Centered Education, which I love. But it is a powerful weekend where all of us come together and we focus and we strategize and we train on how to educate, and particularly our black children. Okay. And so we know that, we have a completely different set of needs. And so it really deals with, educating our children from a holistic perspective. So we cover all types of things from academic, science, math, reading, writing, but we also go into holistic health and wellness. We have a workshop this year that deals with trauma. A lot of our children have gone through many types of trauma, whether it's at the hands of the public school system or family situation and circumstance. So we have a workshop dealing with that, amongst many other things. We have dual enrollment workshop this year. We have one sister who's coming. Her son is graduating from college and high school at the same time for free. No money invested.
Right.
So just teaching people how to do things that, detoxification. I say, we have to homeschool ourselves as parents as well, but, it's also an opportunity to come out and gain resources. So we have black books and curriculum materials. over 100 vendors, and you're always one of them every year that everyone
Yes.
looks forward to.
Yep.
Yeah, because you got the information. The DVDs is simple. You can use it in the classroom. You can use
Right.
it at home. Instead of having them watch a bunch of mess on TV, let them learn about their history
Right.
and who they are. So I know, my son was chasing you down for that 1804. I don't know if you remember that.
Right. I remember. Yeah, I got you all a copy. I remember that. I brought one just for you all. Yep.
So it's amazing. We have over 40 master classes for adults, educators, elders, parents, anyone who is concerned about the well-being of children.
Right. So this is taking place Friday, July 19th through Sunday, July 21st. And people should visit LiberatedMindsExpo.com for more information. LiberatedMindsExpo.com for more information.
Yeah.
They have classes for adults, but you also have classes for children. Is that correct?
We have master classes for everyone. And, the children are going to learn just as much as the adults. I mean, they have science and STEM opportunities, interactions. They have, last year they learned about herbs and made their own tea bags. I mean, they're doing some real, educational stuff and things that are holistic and memorable for life.
Absolutely. All right. Now, what is this year's theme for the 2019 Liberated Minds Black Homeschooling Education Expo? What's this year's theme?
The theme is the activation of our power in abundance. And the reason why we chose that theme is because we're in a space and time right now where we are awakening because of all of the knowledge that we've been given. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I feel like it could be a knowledge overload, but not enough activation and actually implementing things, putting it into practice.
Right.
So the focus is, now that we have all this information and access to great information, such as the information you provide as well,
mm-hmm.
How do we actually utilize it to allow our children to live in their divine purpose and cultivate them to their ultimate greatness, and really give them the opportunity to be young entrepreneurs, have their own businesses, to be able to carry some intergenerational wealth. So, it really just dives into all that. Sunday we have the Economic Summit every year. So Saturday is our main day. We have the trainings, the classes, all the different presenters, as well as Sunday is focused on building up our businesses, our economics, our strategies. You will be there doing your powerful presentation. We have a whole lineup. We also have Sister Gabby from Gabby Bones. Gabby Goodwin will be there, who is a 6th grader making 6 figures with her invention.
Wow. And, now, what's her invention?
She invented a type of barrette that doesn't slide off your brain. Which is masterful because, for us mothers, we know that's a big deal. Because, how many of our children lose their barrettes, braid their hair and twist their hair and, even with the locks and what have you. So, it was a problem that she solved, which is really what it's about, solving the problems in our community. So she even is micro-franchising. She has 75 micro-franchisees underneath her business, in addition to what she has and what she's pushing. And she also has a Mommy and Me Academy, where she's training other young people. So this young sister, 12 years old, she's doing the doggone thing. She's going to be there sharing her story, but also just her transformation, because she was very shy in the beginning and didn't like to really, felt uncomfortable talking to people and media. And she's worked through that, done the training, public speaking training, and now she's completely confident, outspoken, which is a lot, which I love. What I love about that is that a lot of times we feel like, well, my child is not naturally like that.
Right.
But, a lot of times it's not about what they're naturally at. Sometimes, they have the gift that we have to cultivate it as parents.
Exactly.
And our expectations have to be high. We can't have low expectations. We can't use the standard that has been given to us in education as our standard. That cannot be our expectation, because that expectation is way too low.
Right. Right. Yeah, we can't.
Opportunity, you can meet people from all over too. I know.
Exactly.
We have families coming in from black families from all over the country, and now we have people coming in from Africa, the Caribbean.
Wow.
UK.
Wow.
We have people that come every year. Sister just called me today. She's coming in from Kenya. And, that's what it's about. Like, it's really like a family reunion. And the whole point is, it's for everybody. We have a whole campaign we're launching called 1 Million Black Homeschoolers Rising. We're launching it at the Expo. and it's really to separate the to clear the isolation, because homeschooling is about us taking control of our children's education, putting that back into our own hands.
Right.
So my philosophy is start where you are. So even if your child is in the public school, homeschool them. Take some time in the evening. You say, I'm going to put aside an hour every night, and we're going to study our ancestry, or we're going to study some science, or we're going to study, what's of us. And then on the flip side, if it's the weekends you have, it's the weekends. Whatever time you have, you start where you are, and if you want better for your child, you'll do what you need to do. You put yourself around the support system, which is what we're there for, to make sure that we're supporting each other on this journey, and that you have a whole other family out here that's ready and willing to do the work.
Right. Okay, we're going to have a few minutes left here in this interview. Now, I know before you talked about how the African-centered education that we give our children has to cultivate their individualized purpose in life, or something to that effect. Okay, talk about that for a minute. The divine, it has to cultivate their divine purpose in life. Talk about that for a minute. And this is what African-centered homeschooling does.
Absolutely. What that really is simply we all have come here with our mission and our purpose,
right,
and the things that we've come here to do in this lifetime. And so a lot of times our expectations as parents are different than what the children gravitate towards naturally, what they love and what they, really enjoy being a part of. And so to really separate ourselves from what we think we want for them and really begin to study who they are, what they gravitate towards naturally, and cultivating that, because that is things that they enjoy. You think about it, when you do what you love, you're always the best at it. When you put your heart and soul, because it's not work to you. I'm sure with what you do, other people will say, I couldn't look up all that information all day. That's too much work, and that's just too much. And people say to me, I don't know how you can work with children all day and talk to people and, all the, and it's not work for me because I love it. And so, because when you live in your divine purpose, you're able to achieve at much higher rate, and you're able to be at peace, because what good is it to just push your child in the area where they say that career is popular or that career is going to make a lot of money, but they're miserable. They're not liking what they do. There's no joy in their life other than the money, because money doesn't bring joy. It makes it a lot easier.
Right.
But it doesn't. It's not the ultimate in terms of bringing your peace. So when we cultivate divine purpose, we're looking at cultivating the whole child. So their health and wellness is key, because, what they eat, what they put in their body, their environment, what they have around them, all these different things, their social structure, becomes their mindset. I don't care what we're putting in as parents. Their social structure, meaning the other young people that are around them and how they think in their culture. If they're a culture of achievers,
right,
then your child will be amongst that. If they're a culture of low expectations and, ill performance in life,
right,
then that's what you can expect,
Okay. All right. Give people the website again. Who should people talk to if they want to be a vendor or a sponsor or a volunteer?
Absolutely. Okay. You can visit the website, of course, which is www.liberatedminds, M-I-N-D-S, Expo, liberatedmindsexpo.com. You can also give us a call at 678-368-8593. The Expo is going on July 19th through the 21st in Atlanta, Georgia, and it will be held at Piedmont Technical College Conference Center. So it's 3 days. Fridays are meet and greet. We start off with a 3-hour social. We vibe on some great topics.
Right.
This year we also have Brother Leo Sullivan that will be coming through, and he'll be doing a short presentation on animation. He's really here to work and assist with some of the young people who are diving into animation. And those who don't know, he's the first black animator that worked for a lot of the major companies at that time, which was Marvel. He did all the animation for the Soul Train.
Right.
He did all the animation for Fat Albert and a lot of the others, the Spider-Mans and the Marvel, Hanna-Barbera, all that stuff back in the day.
Okay.
So he'll be doing a short sharing on the importance of us starting and creating our own, because now he's created his own entity and sees the importance of that. And he's in his 70s now. So we'll have a vegan soul food, buffet.
Right.
Friday night to kick it off.
Hey, Queen Taese, we got a minute left. Who should people talk to for sponsorship or to be a vendor or to volunteer?
They can just call that number 678-368-8593 or go to the website at liberatedmindsexpo.com. I'm looking forward to seeing you all there.
Give the phone number one more time.
Sure, 678-368-8593. I appreciate you having me on as well.
Okay, sister. I will see you Friday, July 19th, okay?
Okay, sounds
All right.
good. Looking forward to it.
All right, take care. Hotel.
Okay, much love to everyone.
All right, peace. All right, we're coming up on the break. Listen to 910 AM Superstation, the African History Network show. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. Calling numbers 313-778-7600, 313-778-7600. When we come back, we'll go to Robert on the phone lines, and we'll talk about VP Joe Biden apologizes about segregationist comments while Senator Kamala Harris backtracks on busing stance. 910 AM, the Superstation, the Future Radio. We'll be back in a few minutes. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation, the Future Radio. Hey, I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Sunday, July 7th, 2019, and we are live. Hope everybody's doing well. All right, so we just talked to Queen Taese about the Liberated Minds Black Homeschooling Education Expo. And that's coming up Friday, July 19th through Sunday, July 21st in Atlanta. I want to talk some about a continuing story. And we talked about this last week and the week before. Okay? And this deals with Vice President Joe Biden gave an apology yesterday, Saturday, July 6th in South Carolina, dealing with his comments about segregationists, working with segregationists, back when he was in the U.S. Senate. And this goes back to when he basically first joined the U.S. Senate. Now, nobody wanted to talk about the fact that the segregationists he was talking about were Dixiecrats, Southern segregationist Dixiecrats. I still don't know why people don't want to talk about this and put this in the proper context, right? So in Sumter, South Carolina, on Saturday, July 7th, Vice President Joe Biden offered a sweeping defense of his decades-long public record after weeks of direct criticism from his Democratic rivals, while also expressing regret for the first time for recent comments highlighting work with segregationists in the U.S. Senate. Now, in remarks to a heavily African-American audience, former Vice President Joe Biden at times offered an apology, an explanation, or in some cases, a determined defense for past policy positions and comments, primarily on issues of race, but also bankruptcy legislation and the 2002 Iraq War authorization, acknowledging the increased willingness of his rivals to target his record. Biden responded with what he presented as the ultimate validation of his career, Barack Obama's selection of him as vice president. Biden said, quote, "I will take his judgment on my record, my character, and my ability to handle the job over anyone else's," end quote, Biden said to applause. Now, in that speech, because I saw different segments of that speech, this is in South Carolina, Biden talked about how it wasn't just President Obama who vetted his record in the Senate, his record period. It was also 10 attorneys, along with President Obama. Well, it was Senator Obama at the time. It was 10 attorneys, along with Senator Obama, who vetted his 30-year record in the Senate and other things as well, and chose him as vice president. And keep in mind, Senator Obama at the time was an attorney as well, okay, and a former constitutional law professor. Okay, so Biden went through a higher level of scrutiny than anybody else running anybody else running for the presidency as far as the Democrats go. He went through, and most of them is because you have Governor Gary Weld, I think it is, Governor Gary Weld, former governor who ran as an independent for the vice presidency in 2016. Okay, he's come out. He's running for president also. So the scrutiny that Biden had to go through to be selected as vice president to run on that ticket was extremely high. Now, former Vice President Joe Biden told the audience that he first entered public service motivated by the civil rights movement and a desire to shift the Democratic Party in a more progressive direction. Now, you know, I've talked about the history of why African Americans switched from the Republican Party to the Democratic Party, and it goes back to 1928 and Herbert Hoover and the Lily White movement initiated by the Republican Party to push African Americans out of the Republican Party, ignore our issues, and they implemented a Southern strategy in 1928 targeting 5 Southern states and luring Southern Democrats, Dixiecrats, from the Democratic Party to vote for Herbert Hoover as president, and that Southern strategy worked. So when little Candace Owens was testifying in front of the House committee talking about the rise of white supremacy and nationalism, and she lied and said a Southern strategy does not exist or did not exist, that's false. I have a 3-hour lecture that I have coming out. I'll have it with me in Chicago Saturday, July 13th at the Black Agenda Tour, where I go deep into this history of why African Americans switched from the Republican Party to the Democratic Party. It all had to do with policies and who we could get the most from. That's what this was about. It wasn't because of the Civil Rights Act in 1964. By 1960, 2/3 of African Americans had already switched over to the Democratic Party. So when I hear people in the civil rights community saying we switched over because of the Civil Rights Act of 64 and the Voting Rights Act of 65, no, that's not true. This goes back decades before then. Okay? This is why you have to understand history. Okay, so Biden told the audience that he first entered public service motivated by the civil rights movement and the desire to shift the Democratic Party in a more progressive direction. He then took the fight into the U.S. Senate, he said, where he had no choice but to work alongside individuals whose views he found repugnant and offensive. See, once again, the whole way this thing is being covered is disingenuous. These were 2 Southern segregationist Democrats Biden was talking about. Nobody wants to say that. Read the article from Politico.com that I shared with you on last week's show. Okay? Biden's 2020 rivals condemn remarks about segregationists. I was watching MSNBC today. Richard Louis, MSNBC, David Gura. None of them said, and the guest didn't say, wait a second. He was talking about, none of them said he was talking about working with segregationists who were Democrats. And also, Senator James Eastland of Mississippi was the chair of the Senate Judiciary Committee. Well, Biden was on the Senate Judiciary Committee. If you want to get anything done on the Senate Judiciary Committee, guess what? You got to work with the chairman, whether you like him or not, whether you find him repugnant or not. Either that or you're going to have to resign. So, in the article from Politico, he talked about Senator James Eastland of Mississippi and Senator Herman Talmadge of Georgia. He called Talmadge one of the meanest guys he ever knew, but, quote, at least there was some civility. We got things done. Once again, he's talking about even though you vehemently disagree with people, you can still get bills passed. Okay? And he compared that to today. So people took these things totally out of context. All right? And then Biden went on to talk about how he ran against these people and beat them as well. Now, let's continue. So read the article from Politico.com and read this and listen. Watch the video of the show from last week. It's on my YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, IMHOTEP. All right, check that out from our June 30th show. Now, okay, let's continue here. But Biden then acknowledged the misstep weeks ago at a Democratic fundraiser when he noted he had to work alongside segregationists when he first joined the Senate, but did so with civility. Quote, he said, now was I wrong a few weeks ago to somehow give the impression to people that I was praising those men who I successfully opposed time and time again? Yes, I was, he said. I regret it and I'm sorry for any of the pain or misconception that may have caused anybody, end quote. Now, there's a couple things here. One, people need to learn how to read better. Two, the media needs to cover this better and cover this with some integrity and tell the truth about what was being said. Now, last week I played the clip from June 23rd, 2019, when Reverend Al Sharpton interviewed Joe Biden, and Biden told him face to face exactly what was said and how he wasn't praising them. But then he went on to explain. He said, when I used the term boy, that didn't have anything to do with black men being called boy. That had to do with the fact that Senator James Eastland called Senator Ted Kennedy boy. He didn't call him senator because he didn't think he or I belonged in the U.S. Senate. They felt that we were too young to be in the Senate. So he said Senator James Eastland called me son. He didn't call me boy. He said Senator James Eastland called Ted Kennedy boy. Now this is on MSNBC. The video is on MSNBC as well. We shared it last week. So I don't understand how the hosts on MSNBC don't know this exists, and I do. The name of that video: Joe Biden responds to controversy over his comments about segregationists. This is from June 23rd, 2019. It's about 13 minutes long. Started at the 6-minute, 30-second mark. Start watching. It was Reverend Al Sharpton interviewed him. Okay? Then, once again, Sharpton interviewed Cedric Richmond, Representative Cedric Richmond from Louisiana, former chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. And he is the co-chair of Joe Biden's campaign. He interviewed, Reverend Al Sharpton interviewed Cedric Richmond on Politics Nation, June 29, 2019. Okay? The name of that segment is called Biden-Sanders Surrogates Talk Candidates Debate Performance. I played some of that last week on the show. Sharpton acted like the interview he did with Biden the week before didn't even exist. He acted like he had amnesia. And then Cedric Richmond went through and broke down how the way the media is covering Biden's comments are totally mischaracterized. I'm not even going to jump on little Cory Booker. That little punk-ass Negro. I ain't going to jump on that. Cory Booker, after Biden apologized, he talked about how he's so relieved. Man, you want to talk about somebody who look like a weak punk. That doesn't even make sense. Once again, now, check this out. So I was watching MSNBC this past Tuesday, Craig Melvin, right? I like Craig Melvin, but Craig Melvin, he's weak sometimes in these interviews. He doesn't push back. So he asked Cory Booker about somebody else's campaign, about their stance dealing with climate change and things like this, right? Cory Booker said, well, I'm not here to comment on anybody else's campaign. Wait a second, you attacked Biden for 2 weeks on his stance, on his comments dealing with working with segregationists. You attacked him for 2 weeks, and then you attacked him. You were on one of the Sunday morning shows saying you're not sure if he's best qualified to deal with race, things like this. Talk about the issues of race. You did this for 2 weeks. Now, Craig Melvin asked you to comment on another Democrat's campaign, and you said, well, I'm not here to comment on anybody else's campaign. Man, what the hell is going on? Let's go to this clip here. This is from Saturday, July 7th. See, I watch all this stuff. See, it's summertime. People ain't paying attention. I'm always paying attention. I do research 6 to 10 hours a day. I'm always paying attention. Okay, you can't slick a can of oil. All right, now let's go to this clip here. MSNBC, Saturday, July 6th. Biden apologizes about segregationist remarks. Let's go to this clip.
We've got some breaking political news. After weeks of saying he would not apologize for defending his record on race, including his remarks specifically here on working with segregationists, Joe Biden is now saying today he is sorry.
Now, was I wrong a few weeks ago to somehow give the impression to people that I was praising those men who I successfully opposed time and again? Well, yes, I was. I regret it. And I'm sorry for any of the pain or misconception they may have caused anybody.
All right, there you saw it. Let's go to NBC News political correspondent Mike Memley. We also like to call him NBC News Joe Biden correspondent here and there. Mike, why now? Why there? And how did he do?
Well, Richard, what we've seen in the past few weeks is Joe Biden as the front runner for the nomination, really weighed down not just by those recent comments about segregationist senators at a fundraiser in New York a couple weeks ago, but really under the weight of the record that he had for 36 years as a United States Senator, a record that has become ripe for attack from his opponents in this race. And so what he tried to do today here before a heavily African-American audience was both to reframe his public career as somebody who began, as he said, entered public service to fight for civil rights, but also to explain sometimes, to defend sometimes, and yes, even apologize for some of those most controversial aspects of his career that people have been seizing on here. Let's take a listen to more of his effort to reframe this and put his larger career in public service into context.
Should that misstep define 50 years of my record for fighting for civil rights, racial justice in this country? I hope not. I don't think so. That just isn't an honest assessment of my record. I'm going to let my record and my character stand for itself and not be distorted or smeared.
Now, what was interesting, what we also heard from the vice president was to say, listen, I know there's a lot of opposition researchers here, a lot of my rivals, a lot of my opponents trying to pick through my public record. But what he offered was the ultimate validation of his public service. He said, listen, when Barack Obama was considering who to name as his running mate, he and his team vetted every aspect of my record, every vote, every position, every comment he ever said. And let me read what he said. He said, I was vetted by him and selected by him. I will take his judgment of my record, my character, and my ability to handle the job over anyone else's. So it's really playing at this point in the campaign, when he's been on the defensive so much, that ultimate Trump card, if you will, the Obama card here in South Carolina, also attempting to pivot beyond it to say, listen, he understands that this is the game of this campaign, to pick apart each other's records, but he said this is more than a game. We have to defeat Donald Trump. Richard?
Wanting to move past that chapter, Mike Memley, there's a turn off the lights there at Sumter, South Carolina after the Joe Biden event.
Yes, they did.
Okay. All right. So now, pay attention to what just happened. Now it's the entire clip. Neither Richard Louis nor Mike Memley, M-E-M-O-L-I, told you that the two segregationists that Biden was talking about working with were Democrats. That's the entire clip from MSNBC. None of them said that. And I see segment after segment after segment on MSNBC, and nobody's saying this. I see guests. I saw, who was it, Richard Louis today. I watched, what's the guy's name from Belize? Candace. I watched Candace. He looks African-American. He's actually from Belize, which is interesting. Joanne Reed, I like Joy, but her parents are from British Guyana and the Congo. I just find it interesting. I pay attention to certain things, right? Candace Gibson is his name. He's from Belize. He's a brother. He looks African American, but he's actually from Belize. This is a whole nother conversation. We're not going to get into that. I watched David Gura this morning. I watched all of them. Nobody wants to say this. And then, if you go back and listen to the show from last week, Cedric Richmond, when he was interviewed by Reverend Al Sharpton June 29, 2019 on Politics Nation, Cedric Richmond talked about how Senator Cory Booker and Senator Kamala Harris, they talk about how they got the First Step Act passed. Well, they had to work with Donald Trump to get it passed. They also had to work with Senator Mitch McConnell, Senate Majority Leader in the U.S. Senate, to get it passed. Because no bill can come to the Senate floor for a debate without approval from the Senate Majority Leader. No bill can come to the U.S. Senate floor for a vote without approval from the Senate Majority Leader. So they had to work with Senator Mitch McConnell and also other Republicans they can't stand. They had to work with Donald Trump to get the bill passed. I just find that interesting. We ain't talking about 50 years ago. We're talking about, what was that, earlier this year, late last year? All right, so we're coming up on a break. Hey, okay, let's go quickly to the phone lines. Let's go to Robert. Hey, Robert, line 1 in San Diego. Thanks for holding, and we're gonna hold you over the break. But go ahead and start with your comment or question, Robert.
Can you hear me, brother?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, good. First, two things. First, I do want to say thank you for addressing how black folk went to Democrats. I will also put in that we should also talk about how they still a Randolph and that movement at that time was one of the biggest parts because how they pressured FDR to sign that executive order that led towards that led towards the civil rights legislation in the future. You know what I'm saying?
It was Executive Order 8802 signed June 25th, 1941. And what it did was desegregated jobs in the Department of Defense. Okay, hold the line, Robert. We're coming up on a break. We'll hold you over the break. 9:10 a.m. the Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm Michael Imhotep, the African History Network show. We'll be back in a few minutes. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 9:10 a.m. the Superstation, the Future Radio. Hey, I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It's Sunday, July 7th, 2019. Visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Register for my new online course, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, What They Didn't Teach You in School. This is a 8-week, 16-hour online course. I did a special session this past Friday. We deal with thousands of years of history. We do the class live, usually Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All the sessions are recorded, so you can go back and watch it over and over again. It's regularly $130. It's on sale $80. There's about 36 hours of bonus content also. As soon as you register, you can watch the first 3 classes. All right, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, What They Didn't Teach You in School, 2019 edition. And if you've taken this course anytime in the past with me, email me at customerservice@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, and we'll get you enrolled at 50% off if you've taken this class in the past. Okay. All right, very quickly here, let's go back to Robert on line 1, then we'll go to Jice Johnson and Mechee X. Hey, Robert, welcome back to the African History Network show. Go ahead and finish your comment because I have my guests on the line.
I want to say a comment. I want to elaborate on something. Like, you have to understand, just like Colin West said it years ago, he said, after Obama, second term, we live in a time when every dollar is up for sale. Every black political correspondent is up for sale. Like Michael X. Dyson.
You said what was up for sale? What was up for sale?
Everyone's up for sale.
Okay.
Mostly black correspondents, and even white correspondents too. MSNBC is very neoliberal. They're very they're very pro-war, and notice, and it doesn't, and I know you was talking about the different, I don't know how to say nationality. It doesn't matter whether they're brothers from Congo or sisters from wherever. The thing is that they're selling out to the status quo. We have African leaders selling the status quo too. So we have to understand that the MSNBC, as much as they know what they're doing, they are the establishment. They don't say they shun. They're doing the same strategy like they did in 2016. You know what I'm saying? They shun Senator Sanders. Like they shun Senator, and anytime they talk about him, it's going to be negative. And now, and when it comes to the debates and stuff, they're going to have very vague and ridiculous questions,
Okay.
And that's what they do. That's what they do.
Okay. All right. Hey, Robert. I got to run. I got my guests on the line. All right. Thanks for calling. Keep listening, Robert. Maybe try to call back after I get finished with these 2 interviews. Okay. Thanks for calling, Robert. Keep listening. All right. Then also keep in mind with Bernie Sanders and MSNBC, right? You have people on MSNBC who are pro Bernie Sanders, who will guess things like this. But Bernie Sanders sometimes couldn't explain his own policies. Like when he was on Morning Joe and he was asked, okay, say you break up the big banks. Say you become president, break up the big banks. Well, what happens to the people who work at these banks and don't have jobs anymore? He didn't have an answer for it. So, yeah, that's a whole nother conversation. I don't have time getting into that. All right, but call back later, Robert, if we have time. Okay, on the line we have Jice Johnson and our sister Mechee X, who are with the Black Agenda on Tour. Is coming to Chicago Saturday, July 13th, 2019. How you sisters doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
All right, all right. Good to have you on. We had Jice on before. We got Mechee on tonight as well, and Jice Johnson. So look, you have David Banner. I'll be there Saturday, July 13th. So let people know, first of all, exactly what is the Black Agenda Tour?
Well, the Black Agenda Tour is, I don't want to use the word basically because it's so much more than basic.
Sure.
A whole lot to it. But we're going across the nation and we are building a unified front on two levels, both the community and giving a new perspective of what unity is, giving solutions that are tangible and touchable to us getting free in this country that can start for the every average day Black man, woman, and child. We are also uniting organizations across this nation so that we can have a unified front. The Black Agenda will be in several different phases, and the first one is just unification. And so that's what we're going across this nation doing right now.
Okay, and you're hitting multiple cities, Jice Johnson. You started out here in Detroit, so we had you on my show talking about it in Detroit. I was there. I was one of the panelists. So what can people look forward to Saturday, July 13th in Chicago?
Absolutely. So people can look forward to some tangible solutions. I think we're many of us are looking for answers. Many of us are trying to figure out what do. We get something is wrong. We get there are a lot of things wrong, and we're not always sure what we as individuals can do. And you find a lot of people who feel very empowered, and they latch on to an organization or a cause or something that they're very passionate about. So for the rest of us, you know, there are many of us who are just like, we don't know where to start. And I think both, whether you're very passionate about an area that we need to work on as a community, or if you are still searching for what you can do, you'll find both of those answers at the Black Agenda.
All right, all right. Now, Mechee, now you came, you are basically the brainchild of the Black Agenda on tour. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so tell people, how did you come up with this idea and why?
Okay, well, I've gone through some very devastating things in my life that have been a product of the oppression on our people in this country. And there came a time that had to do with my son. He got caught up in the school-to-prison pipeline. And I basically secluded myself in my room for 2 years. I don't know about other Black Americans, but I was devastated, and all the things keep happening to us day to day,
right,
and we see as well as in my own life. And so I said, you know, I'm not going to sit here in pain and in anger and just stew in that. So I had to turn it into some type of a power. And what I did in that 2 years in my room, with the help of my mother, helping me with my children and stuff, basically, I turned off the TV and I studied all of the things that were working against us, from how we are attacked. And then I looked at all of the movements and things and what we got right, what we didn't get right, and I came up with something that I believe is what we can do to get free, right? It won't all happen overnight. It was something that I just studied, the aspects of how we're attacked. I fully know that we cannot make a plan of counterattack if we don't understand all the facts of how we are. And the oppressive systems in this country are so multifaceted, and so things are so conditioned, and a lot of us don't even really understand the attack. So it's very hard for us to do something about it because we don't always understand what's happening to us as an attack.
Right.
So that's what it was really birthed out of. It was birthed out of my pain as a Black woman in this country, saying I'm not going to continue to live like this anymore. So what do we do?
Exactly. All right. Now, Jice Johnson, how did you connect with Mechee X on this Black Agenda tour?
Well, you know, one day I was making a trip out to, well, actually, I guess it's really through Shop Talk Live. We have an organization out here called Shop Talk Live, and we connected with a few of the folks on there. So that's how I met her. But I would say we really connected.
Where is out here? Where is out here?
Here in Denver.
Okay, Denver, Colorado. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and so that was how we met. But then I would say we connected because I was looking for someone to travel with me to Detroit. And she said, hey, sis, I'm from there, you know, let's go. So we took a trip to Detroit together, you know, without really knowing each other. And I would say we came back from that trip just being great friends and having a better understanding of each other, and, you know, really having a better understanding of some of the things that she's been through, as well as some of the things that I'm passionate about and have been working on, and there just seems to be an alignment. She may have more to that, but that's how I see it.
All right, excellent. Okay, so What can is Saturday, July 13th, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Okay, and it's at the Quarry Event Center, 2423 East 75th Street in Chicago. So, who are going to be some of the speakers and panelists there, Mechee X?
Well, first you have myself that's going to be unfolding the whole, overview of what they're going to be looking at. They're explaining what the Black agenda is and our acronym for the 5 ways we're under attack. And then you're going to see the other speakers come up. Jice. We also have local speakers from the community. You will be there as well. And then we also have David Banner. Also with some really great entertainment, right? And I don't want to just call it entertainment, but there's a young man there named Golden Child, and he is very much great at what he does. He's all about his people. So he has some entertainment, but the content doesn't condition us, right, to do the wrong things and see ourselves in the wrong way. He's a very powerful young man, and I'm excited to say that he'll be there. Then we'll also have a moment, what we call the Black Market, so you will be able to spend Black dollars with Black ventures, right, and be able to support our people in that. And then there will come a time when we will connect the community with the organizations, because there is a Friday night training for all organizations. It's free for the organization. You do need to the training, but you do need to register, and we will be speaking that evening and the issues that are right there in their community, but also some of the things that hold our organizations back, so we can find a way to get over that, and then we will present the community to the organizations at the end of the conference.
Okay, so you have the Friday night community training. What time is that, and where is it taking place?
So that's going to be from 6:30 to 8:30, and we're going to have that at the Black Mall. Okay,
the Black Mall. Okay, that's Cassiopeia. Okay, because Cassiopeia is one of the panelists, right?
Yes.
Cassiopeia from the Black Mall. So I go back years with her. I've interviewed her before. Okay, so 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. is the community training at the Black Mall. Say it again.
It's for organization. It's for organization. So the people that
organization
is more the community.
Right.
So if you are in an organization, those are the people we have.
Right. Community organizations. That's what I meant to say. Community organization training. What's the address for the Black Mall? Okay. It's on. So visit the website, theblackAgendaOnTour.com. Go ahead.
Yes, and I do want to encourage people, because we've had a few folks who, say, well, I didn't get that information. And what I will say is that the information is put out in email. So if you register, that information is sent out in emails at each location. It gives information about parking. It gives information as to what to expect for the day. And for the Friday training, as well as if you've signed up for VIP, if you've registered for VIP as well, where that information can be found. And then also we update it inside of the event itself. So we put it in as many places as possible, and to include people's email addresses, and so we want to make sure that we say that just to alleviate any confusion.
Right, okay. And then check your spam folder also, people, for your email. Because sometimes emails like that go to your spam folder and you wonder what happened to it. Check your junk mail, check your spam folder. Okay, so on the panel, go ahead. What'd you say?
That's it. Thank you for saying that.
No problem. So on the panel, we have Mechee X, we have Jice Johnson. Also, we have David Banner on this stretch of the tour as well. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so let people know who David Banner is, who may not be familiar with them, or they think about the Incredible Hulk. Go ahead.
Right. David Banner is I don't like to call him a rap artist today, although he does have some very more positive rap about the Black community. Mm-hmm. But you may remember David Banner from, being a rapper back in the day, but he has certain things that he does into changing his narrative for the community. So if you've heard of Skybox, you may have heard of him that he's involved in a lot of different things that he is doing. So let me tell you, if you need more information, that if you Google his name, it will do you plenty of justice and give you all the information on who this amazing person is, because we're really glad to have him on the tour. Everything he speaks of and that he does is really aligned with the vision that we have and that we're setting out. So if they don't know, they want to know more, I suggest they go look it up, because there won't be any lack of information. I promise you that.
Absolutely. And then on my YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, I have an interview I did with David Banner at the Black Agenda that took place in Detroit. You've seen him in Hidden Colors 3. You've seen him in the movie, what is it? This Christmas. He's in the movie This Christmas. He's also in India Reed's latest video as well. Okay. He's he's in there as well. So when I interviewed him, he didn't tell me that video was about to come out with NDRE, okay? Because that video almost broke the internet, okay? All right, so David Banner be there as well. Cassiopeia, I'll be there. I'm on the panel. I have my vendor table there. I have my my DVDs also. Now, so how can people get tickets once again?
Well, they can go over to www.theblackagenda.ontour.com. And they can purchase all of the tickets and, again, all of the information as far as where everything is, all the addresses, all of that information is on the website. Also, I would like to let people know that you don't have much time left, but tonight until 12 midnight, we do have a freedom special going on where we get the 4th of July. That's really not our day, so we're looking for our true independence in this country. So if you go and choose the freedom ticket right now for all the cities that are still coming on the tour, you can buy one ticket and you get one for free. So you put the freedom ticket in there.
Wow.
Put in the code FREEDOM, and it will take 50% off because we want you to come, but we want you to bring somebody with you. So in most cities, if you split that ticket with your friend, you talk about $30 a piece. So that will end tonight at 12 o'clock. But if anybody's looking forward to seeing us on any of the cities in Chicago or any of the cities to come, this would be a great time. If you can, to get your ticket now, get one for a friend or somebody else that you want to bring with you for free.
Okay, so that is at theblackagenda.ontour.com. Type in, what's the code again to type in?
If there's a choice for a freedom ticket, and you put in the word freedom. Freedom is the code word.
Okay, freedom ticket. Okay, the blackagenda.ontour.com. All right, now, and then also for people who have seen Mechee X maybe on YouTube and things like that. Okay, she doesn't always curse, as somebody said on YouTube. Somebody in the chat room on YouTube said she does not always curse. She's a very intelligent sister. Maybe if you actually talked to her and got to know her, you would know that. Okay, all right. Now, some people, Mechee or Jice, either one of you can take this question. We got a couple of minutes left here. Some people say a rising tide lifts all boats, right? You know, so we don't need a black agenda. You know, if the economy's better, we're going to do better. And of course, you know, if more jobs come, yeah, that's going to help. But, you know, our condition is different than other people's conditions. And there's a historical context. So just very briefly, a minute or so, why is a black agenda important? Okay? Why can't we just pick a candidate and say a rising tide lifts all boats?
Oh, because our issues are so much deeper than that. As you have expressed, that there's not any other race in this country that is oppressed in the way we are. See, and it would seem really easy to say, let's just pick a candidate. I know when people often hear the word black agenda, they also rush to politics. Mm-hmm. But I would like to slow down a little bit first and not get ahead of the button and say that we can't really push any political issues and get the people and rally them behind it. One, a lot of our people don't even understand how politics works, right?
Right, you're right about that.
And how we get what we want. So the first step is first we have to, if the people aren't unified and we don't agree, we don't have a plan or a foundation as black people across this nation that is strictly for us. Everybody wants to throw us in the POC box. Everybody wants to say that our
people of color,
and they're not. So we have to simply start with making sure that we understand and we just start where we are. We can't give ourselves too much. That's why one thing I would stress in this, this black agenda is that it won't stop this year. We will continue, and there are phases to it. But the first phase is that we have to prepare our people for the fight ahead of us. And so that is the important part. So when we talk about the black agenda right now, we're talking about the fact that we are our answer. And before we start talking about what we demand outside of us, we are starting with us.
Right.
So that's where we're starting first. Our issues are so much bigger than a politician. You know, we have our acronym PEOPLE, which covers a lot of the 5 areas that we're under attack, which stands for basically we peep game. We see what you're doing to us, and it stands for we are under attack physically, right, educationally, economically, politically, and mentally. So political is just one aspect of that. There are so many more, and you can't have a person or a race of people that their whole body and being is wounded, and you just wrap up they are when everything else is hurting. We have to deal with the thing as a whole, which is why it's nothing.
All right. Once again, visit the blackagendaontour.com. It's coming to a city near you. I know you have Brooklyn coming up, Atlanta. I'll be in some of those other cities also. Washington, D.C. is coming up as well. The blackagendaontour.com. Mechee X, Jice Johnson, Cassiopeia, David Banner, Michael Imhotep in Chicago. Okay, ladies, very quickly, let people know how they can follow you all on social media.
All right, well, you can follow me, Mechee X, is MECHEEX, and where you're going to catch me the most is on YouTube, where I'm live throughout the week as much as possible. I'm busy with the tour, and you can catch me on Instagram and Facebook under the same name.
Okay, so it's Mechee X, MECHEEX.
Yeah.
Okay, and Jice Johnson.
Yep, you can catch me at Jice Johnson. And then you can catch us at the Black Agenda on Tour and on Facebook and on Instagram.
Okay, that's JICE. All right.
Yes, JICE.
All right, no problem. Well, look, ladies, I will see you all in Chicago Saturday, July 13th. Okay, you all have a great night. Okay, Hotep.
All right, you too.
Okay, peace. Okay, so that was Mechee X and Jice Johnson talking about the Black Agenda tour taking place in Chicago Saturday, July 13th. All right, and we're going to be joined in just a minute here. We're going to be joined by Kojo Owusu Ansah, who's going to talk about the community picnic taking place Saturday, August 3rd in Westland. And this is sponsored by House of Faith Ministries, okay? They're going to have free medical services provided, diabetes screening, blood pressure check. I met Sister Akua Ado with the House of Faith Ministries. I met her at the Uweko African Unity Festival on Thursday, July 4th. And I was talking to her. She gave me a flyer about what they have going on August 3rd, Saturday, August 3rd. So I said, okay, well, look, we can have somebody on the show to talk about this, okay? All right, so let's bring, we have Brother Kojo on from House of Faith Ministries. Hello, Brother Kojo. How you doing tonight? Welcome to the African History Network show.
And thank you so very much, and thanks for the opportunity given to us.
All right, no problem, no problem. Well, look, we have a few minutes here. So let people know what is taking place Saturday, August 3rd, out in Westland.
So on Saturday, August 3rd, on that day, we will be having some nurse practitioners, some nurses, and some other health workers on board to check blood pressure and to advise on some health issues. We will also be having a social worker on board to advise on the community resources available as well.
Community resources.
We will also have our head pastor. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Could use the community resources, and then go ahead.
Yes, we will have our head pastor, Reverend John Taese, who will also be available to provide some spiritual counsel as well to the community. So all that we plan to do on that day is to give back to the community and to celebrate our diversity on that day.
Okay. Now you're going to have programs and activities that will start at 1 p.m. You'll do free medical services. You'll do diabetes screening, blood pressure check, cholesterol check, social services, counseling services. All this is taking place. What's the start time and what's the end time of this event, Brother Kojo?
We plan to start at 1 p.m. on Saturday, August 3rd, and we plan to end maybe by 7 p.m.
Okay, 7 p.m. Is this an indoor or outdoor event?
It's going to be an outdoor event.
Okay, yeah, community picnic. I know it's outdoor. And then also the health screenings will be outdoors also?
It will be indoor inside the church.
Okay.
We'll create a room inside the church to accommodate that.
Okay, so the health screenings indoors, community picnic outdoors, okay?
And there's going to be free food as well.
Okay, free food also. All right. So this is taking place, everybody, at 28945 Joy Road in Westland, Michigan. 28945 Joy Road in Westland, Michigan. Now, is there a website people can go to for more information?
Yeah, they can look for us on Facebook, House of Faith Michigan on Facebook, and we also have a website online, House of Faith International Ministries if they Google us, they will find us as well.
Okay, House of Faith International Ministries. And for more information, according to the flyer here, you can call Quadwo, KWADWO, at 248-819-0251. 248-819-0251. Okay, and then also, how do you pronounce this person's name? Yao, Y-A-W?
Yeah.
Okay, Yao, 313-437-5730. 313-437-5730. Okay, give them a call. Let them know you heard Brother Kojo on the African History Network show with Michael Imhotep if you need more information. And this is going from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. on Saturday, August 3rd, 2019, sponsored by House of Faith Ministries. Okay, now is the 28945 Drury Road, is that the address of the church, Brother Kojo?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's the address of the church as well.
Okay, so you'll be able to see the sign, the name of the church on the outside. Okay, and this is interfaith as well, right?
Yes, it's all members. You don't have to be a member to be present. You can come, bring your family. It's going to be a class.
Okay, absolutely. All right, Brother Kojo. Well, look, good luck. I know this is going to be a fantastic event. You're providing a good service to the community as well. And thanks for coming on tonight. Okay.
And thank you so much for having us, and God bless.
Okay, brother. Take care. Peace. Hotel. All right. Thanks for calling in. All right, everybody. We've got a few minutes left here in the show. 313-778-7600 is the call-in number if you have a question or comment. 313-778-7600 is the call-in number if you have a question or comment. I'm going to, we talked about Joe Biden, and I'm going to go to this other clip here as well. Then we'll try to squeeze in this Jimmie J.J. Walker story. I'll probably have to do a separate broadcast on Monday dealing with this. I'm getting ready to go to Chicago on Friday. If you like this type of information, you can support the African History Network. PayPal.me/the AHN Show. PayPal.me/the AHN Show. You can donate there. That helps finance the research, finance the Sunday night show, helps me pay for these trips that I have to take to Chicago and Atlanta. Okay, I'm out of town 2 weekends in a row. PayPal.me/the AHN Show, and you can do 15, 25, 50, 100, whatever it is. You can set up for a recurring donation also if you like. And also, you can visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Click on the yellow donate button. Be sure to register for my new online course, Ancient Kemet, the Moors and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. 2019 edition. We deal with thousands of years of history. We meet again Wednesday, July 10th, 2019. As soon as you register, you can watch the first 3 classes, and then there's about 36 hours of bonus content. Okay. All right. Going back to Joe Biden, and we'll post a link here for the online courses here in the on the thread of the broadcast. Okay, going back to Joe Biden, Biden talked about working with the 2 Democratic segregationists, and nobody wants to tell you these were 2 Democrats. But Biden apologized on Saturday, July 7th. And, he should have apologized, but mainly he should hold the media accountable for misrepresenting what he said. Okay? Now, very quickly here, we see that Kamala Harris backtracked on her statements also dealing with busing. Okay, now Biden said, Biden acknowledged the misstep weeks ago at a Democratic fundraiser when he noted he had to work alongside segregationists when he first joined the Senate, but did so with civility. Okay, now he went on to say, but should the misstep define 50 years of my record for fighting for civil rights and racial justice in this country? I hope not. I don't think so. That just isn't an honest assessment of my record. I'm going to let my record and my character stand for itself and not be distorted or smeared. Okay? Check out the article from NBCnews.com. Biden apologizes for remarks on segregationists but defends civil rights record. Biden apologizes for remarks on segregationists but defends civil rights record. NBCnews.com. That's from July 6th. 2019. Now, Senator Kamala Harris had to backtrack on her comments dealing with busing. The Associated Press reported on July 3rd. Harris says busing should be considered, not mandated. Harris says busing should be considered, not mandated. Imagine that. Well, what the hell was that you were talking about on the debate stage on Thursday, June 27th? The Associated Press reported from Iowa, West Des Moines, Iowa, on July 3rd, Senator Kamala Harris said Wednesday that busing students should be considered by school districts trying to desegregate their locations, not the federal mandate she appeared to support in pointedly criticizing rival Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden last week. So, well, hold on. Now, I posted this article when it came out. First, I saw it from blackamericaweb.com. They picked it up from the Associated Press. I posted it on my Facebook fan page. Okay? And some people want to attack me over it. I'm like, why don't y'all read the damn article before you start commenting on the article? Then I read it directly from the Associated Press from their website. Senator Kamala Harris said Wednesday that busing students should be considered by school districts trying to desegregate their locations, not the federal mandate she appeared to support in pointedly criticizing Joe Biden. Harris had a breakthrough moment at the candidate's first debate. Okay, we know about that. She said, quote, that's where the federal government must step in, she said on the debate stage, looking at Joe Biden and winning a burst of applause from the auditorium in Miami. Now, I bet you these people haven't read this addendum, this asterisk, okay? On Wednesday, however, Senator Harris characterized busing as a choice local school districts have, not the responsibility of the federal government. Well, what the hell was that on stage? I told you that was an act. I told you last week. That was an act, okay? She should get an Academy Award for that. Busing, while not central to the Democratic primary, has become a proxy issue from the debate between Biden and Harris over race, as well as a broader question, okay, about whether the 76-year-old former vice president is out of step with his party, okay? After a Democratic Party Wednesday in West Des Moines, Iowa, Harris was asked by reporters whether she supports federal mandated busing. Let's go to this clip here. We got a couple minutes. Let's go to this clip. Let you hear what she said.
Support federally mandated busing and for de facto.
I believe that any tool that is in the toolbox should be considered by a school district.
There's so much that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have to answer there around the question of school integration today. Kamala Harris said that school segregation may be worse today than it was even when she was a child going to school. And I think that's where those questions for both of the candidates go from here. Does that include federally mandating the busing in cases of what you could essentially call neo de jure segregation? I think those are the questions that both of the candidates will be looking at going forward. Chris?
Well, Hilliard, thanks to you as well as Mike. And joining me now is Democratic strategist Danielle Moody.
Stop there. Okay. Watch that full clip. And Danielle Moody Mills, she's the host of Woke AF. But you listen to her, that's an example when you too woke to study history. Watch the full clip, okay? I'm serious. Because I listen to some of these people who's supposed to know better and supposed to be so woke, and you can tell they don't understand history. You can listen to them and tell. She's one. I like her. And her wife is Aisha Moody Mills. So if you wonder why, you see them on MSNBC, okay? I'm not attacking them. This is the truth. There's a video on YouTube, they talk about this, right? If you wonder why they have the same name, this is because they're married to each other. Just they're not brother and sister. Not sister and sister. They're married to each other, okay? Not an attack, I'm just stating facts, all right? But, so they're supposed to be so woke. But you listen to them, you can tell they understand history. All right, so the name of that clip was, let me give you the actual name of that clip here. What was that? Which one was that? Okay, the first one, that's from Stephanie Rule, MSNBC. Chris Jansen or Chris Jennings or somebody was sitting there for Stephanie Rule. Considered and not mandated. Considered and not mandated. Senator Kamala Harris amends her busing stance. Okay, that's from Thursday, July 4th, 2019. Okay, check that out. And then read the article also from the Associated Press, okay, apnews.com. Harris says busing should be considered not mandated, all right? In that article, she said, quote, I think of busing as being in the toolbox of what is available and what can be used for the goal of desegregating American schools, she responded to the question. Asked to clarify whether she supports federally mandated busing, she replied, quote, I believe that any tool that is in the toolbox should be considered by a school district, end quote. She's backtracking on her statement on the debate stage on Thursday, June 27th, when she talked about federally mandated busing. The Biden campaign is saying, wait a second, you basically saying what Joe Biden was saying. So what was all that you were talking about on stage? I told you last week that was some BS. The more day after day, more information comes out to prove what I was saying, what I've been saying last week and the week before. More information come out proving I was correct. Proper documentation ends all conversation. Look, we got to get out of here. Make way for Pastor Mo. I'll see you all in Chicago Saturday, July 13th. See you in Atlanta Friday, July 19th through the 21st. Visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Sign up for our online courses, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, 2019 edition. Email me customer service at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com if you have any questions, or if you registered for the course before, you get 50% off. You can donate to the African History Network, paypal.me/the AHN show. Remember, at the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now let's correct wrong behaviors, not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you next week. Peace.